Melbourne take on Port Adelaide. Jono, while you got the floor, let's have a look at the ins and outs for those Ds.
Yeah, the Ds. Weren't they great last week against the Western Bulldogs? Their ins are Jeddah and Jack Viney back in around the contest. Look forward to love the way he goes about it. Riley's omitted along with Newton Howe as a forward. That's a big tick. Hopefully it stays that way because he has a huge impact for them in that forward line. Pedersen continues on, kicked 3 goals along with Hogan, so that's worked. That's another big tick. Vandenberg's rise. Brayshaw all played well. Jimmy Toumpas kicked 2, played his best game. So many ticks across the board for Melbourne, including their captain, Nathan Jones. Now, he kicked a big goal and, yeah, he thumps the chest, which we'll have a look at here. But when you look at a player and you look at... I go back to what's been said about Carlton and their rebuild, I suppose. This man's been part of that, part of a rebuild with Melbourne for quite some time now. But he brings passion, he brings determination, and he brings consistency with his performance in terms of what he expects from others because he's doing it himself. I would love to play under Nathan Jones for that reason. And I hope that he's still captain when that side starts to play finals again and gets themselves up the top of the ladder, because what he's done during this period, which has been tough, his drive for that side, I think, is massive. And I hope it continues on for him and continues on for them in their growth.
Mate, you make me feel like I want to play. You just...
Hey,
you're putting so much passion. I wish you hadn't shown it right here. Give some passion back to the fans, Jono.
They gave me nothing in Perth when I went over there. Why would I give anything? No, I go there a lot. I love the people in WA.
You're going to cop it.
Port Adelaide, the ins and outs to go. Let's have a look at them.
Corns out, Ryder, Trengove, Stewart, Broadbent and Cleary. Angus Mombri's the 200 games. Now, Port, the wheels have come off, but where have they come off? They were third in the competition for turnovers in defensive half and then going and kicking goals and having scores. They are 18th at the moment for this key stat, and we know Kenny Hinkley scratching his head. What's happening? We're just going to go into the lab. This took me about 4 or 5 hours, boys, just break this down, and this is where my Thursday gets spent. In the lab, I pulled apart a defensive action. Now, Richmond's forward line, they've created space, they've isolated. You'll see to the left, we'll highlight the 2 Port Adelaide players. Make the decision to leave the Richmond players, OK? So no dramas at that. If you can impact the situation, one-on-one, all the Port Adelaide players that left their opponents head to the back of the contest. The ball comes forward like all good forwards do in a one-on-one, and they have the numbers out. Jakey Batchelor just goes, thank you very much, and bang. That was the key to Port Adelaide last year. They wouldn't have even had a look at that. They were 3rd in the comp, now they're 18th in the comp for that. Now, in terms of their transition, that's one thing. Through the midfield, their stats have gone south as well. I think they were 4th, now they're in 15th territory in terms of their midfield stats. So they've got a lot of work to do, but it all starts from the back half. You're handing easy goals, especially to Richmond. And just before we go on, Moons, I've got one more thing about skill level with Port Adelaide. We know they're runners, but at the moment they're a Thursday team because they feel good. They're hitting targets Thursday. They've got to do it on a Saturday. Dermot in the defence, didn't play a lot of defence, but I know that if I'm going to have a go across goal, when the teasing distance for that Richmond player is what we call 47 metres, I'm not going to try and kick it 57 because it does land the 10 metres short. And have a guess, Brandon Ellis just goes, I've read that a mile away. He's just sent a message to 40,000 people. I'm going across that way. And Brandon Ellis, do your best to just drop short there because you'll get that footy. And they're just making those silly errors down back, costing them goals, costing them games of footy and consistency.
Well, it is at Traeger Park up in Alice Springs. You'll be there, Jono.
Yes.
Who are you going for? Tough tip.
It is actually tough.
They went close last year.
Yeah, they did. They just struggled to go back-to-back. Hopefully they do, and their performances and those players I mentioned before can go well again. Port Adelaide just.
Yeah, Port Adelaide for me, only just at the moment.
Melbourne.
I want to go Melbourne. I'm tipping Port on parole. OK? They're on parole with me, which this is their last chance. Then I'm not tipping them again against anyone half good. All right, they're on their last chance, so I'm going for Port.